The airport felt normal that morning. Busy, loud, familiar. Rolling suitcases, boarding calls echoing through the terminal, tired travelers staring at departure boards. Nothing felt wrong. I had traveled dozens of times before. I knew the routine. Shoes off, laptop out, bag on the belt. Then the officer asked a simple question. I answered casually, almost jokingly. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't even serious. But the moment those words left my mouth, everything changed. The officer stopped typing. He looked up slowly. Another officer stepped closer. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. At airport security, some sentences don't mean what you think they mean. Confidence before the mistake. I arrived early. Too early, actually. I remember feeling relaxed, even confident. No rush. No stress. No reason to worry. My bag was packed perfectly. No liquids over the limit. No sharp objects. Nothing suspicious. I had even double-checked the rules the night before. Security lines were long, but moving steadily. When it was my turn, I placed my bag on the conveyor belt, stepped through the scanner, and waited like everyone else. That's when the officer asked, "Did you pack your bag yourself?" I smiled and said something I had said before on past trips. Something harmless. Something that would cost me nearly my entire day, the sentence that changed everything. I laughed lightly and said, "Yeah, unless someone slipped something in when I wasn't looking." I meant it as a joke. A stupid joke. The officer didn't laugh. Instead, he froze. In less than 2 seconds, the entire energy around me shifted. Another officer was called over. My bag was pulled off the belt. A small red tag was attached to it. I was asked to step aside. No explanation. No argument. Just calm, firm instructions. That's when panic slowly began creeping in. Why airport security takes words seriously. What most travelers don't realize is this. Airport security doesn't hear words the way normal people do. They are trained to listen for keywords, implications, and uncertainty. When I joked about someone slipping something into my bag, I unknowingly triggered 3 red flags. Uncertainty about bag control. Possibility of prohibited items. Attempt to deflect responsibility. To me, it was humor. To them, it was a potential threat. At an airport, intent doesn't matter as much as interpretation. The secondary screening room. I was escorted into a small room off to the side. No windows. A metal table. 2 chairs. My bag was placed on the table like evidence. The officer asked calmly, "Why did you say that?" I tried to explain. I said it was a joke. That I travel often. That I was just being casual. That explanation made things worse. Joking, in security environments, often equals nervous behavior. They asked me to sit down. Another officer entered. Now it was no longer routine screening. Questions that feel personal. They started asking questions I wasn't prepared for. Where I was going, why I was going, who I was meeting, where I worked, how long I planned to stay. Each answer was typed into a system. My bag was unpacked item by item. Clothes removed, electronics scanned, shoes inspected, even small items were tested. I wasn't accused of anything, but I was treated like someone who could be hiding something. And that feeling stays with you. Time becomes your enemy. What hurt the most wasn't fear. It was time. Minutes turned into half an hour. Half an hour turned into 40 minutes. I watched my boarding time getting closer. And here's the harsh truth. Airport security does not care about your flight schedule once you trigger extra checks. Missed flights are your problem, not theirs. That realization hits hard. Other phrases that cause the same problem. While waiting, I overheard other travelers being pulled aside. One man said, "I don't know what's in my bag, my wife packed it." Another said, "It's probably nothing, I think." Another tried to act smart and said, "I know the rules." Each one was flagged. At airport security, uncertainty sounds like danger. Why officers never argue. I noticed something strange. The officers were calm, polite, almost emotionless. They never argue. They never explain in detail. They never reassure you. Because their job is not to comfort. Their job is to remove risk. And once risk is detected, everything else becomes secondary. After nearly an hour, my bag was finally cleared. The officer slid it toward me and said, "You're good to go." No apology. No explanation. Just that. I rushed to my gate, heart still racing, replaying every second in my head. I made the flight, barely. And I learned something that day I will never forget. Airport security is not the place to joke. Not the place to explain too much. Not the place to be casual. The safest answers are clear, simple, confident. Even innocent words can sound dangerous in the wrong environment. If you remember one thing before your next flight, remember this. At airport security, what you say matters more than what you mean. One sentence, one joke, one careless answer, and your entire journey can change. Before you fly, choose your words carefully.